Welcome back everyone, this is Annie, and today I'm going over the melting basket that I pulled and what I actually melted in the week and a half before Christmas, including the weekend of Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas of the year 2021. I initially started out trying to just fit everything into this little basket, and as you can see it is overflowing and into all of this. This little basket here at the front is all the items I actually didn't get to melt anything of. I'm not going to open up and smell everything because that would just make this video way too long, but I will quickly just show you the items that I pulled, and then we'll dive into what I actually got to melt or finish. I forgot I also pulled two others. I'm not going to show you all the bags because I've since had them in other melting baskets and it'll kind of give away how much I've used. But one was Salt Mountain Melts. It's Snow Globe of Spearmint, Icy Peppermint, and Buttermints. And I didn't actually get to melt any of this before Christmas. And then Christmas at the Beach from L3 Waxy Wonders of Blackberry, Boardwalk, Mellow Clouds, Salty Sea Air, and Peppermint, which I also didn't get to melt the week of Christmas, but I have since melted some, and you'll get to hear that in another video. Alright, let me move this basket aside, and we'll dive into the big container. Okay, let's go in for all of this. This is a really big box, and I do have some candles. Most of them are not finished, but I just kind of wanted to show y'all what I did get to melt from. This first one is Bath and Body Works. It's Peppermint Hot Chocolate, and the scent notes, I'm sorry, I kind of set it down in some melted wax at one point so it got messy. It's Cool Peppermint, Silky Milk Chocolate, Sweet Cream, and oh my goodness, I have loved this one. It burned mostly pretty well until right down at the bottom it got a little bit of smoky, and so the wax got dirty, and I will trim the wicks again before I melt it again. But I have been loving melting this and melted this quite a bit during that week and a half before Christmas and lit it Christmas Eve. It was just great throw for me, and a really nice chocolate peppermint scent. It reminds me of having that Swiss Miss hot chocolate with some peppermint added, and it's not like a true deep chocolate, but just for that nostalgic feel of having the powdered Swiss Miss and like warm milk and like a candy cane mixed all in. I really enjoyed it, and the throw is fantastic. It throws really well through my house, and so yeah, we've enjoyed that one a lot. Then also we did Under the Christmas Tree, and the scent notes on this one are Fir Balsam, Juniper Berries, Vanilla Eggnog, and Sage Leaves. And I love the label on this. It's so pretty. I need to trim next time we burn. We've only burned this one time, and we did this, I feel like it was sometime on Christmas, or maybe 2 days before. I can't remember exactly. But this smells really good. I definitely get that balsam note and the juniper berries. I don't really pick up on eggnog on this, but it's just a really nice winter Christmas tree scent, and it performed pretty well. I don't think the throw was quite as strong as the peppermint hot chocolate one, but it was still pretty good. Could smell it through a lot of the house. Now, these are 2 candles from Homeworks that, on cold, they smell pretty good. This is sugared beignets, and it's French pastry, powdered sugar, spun sugar, and vanilla and cinnamon. This one actually on cold smells fantastic, but I just have not gotten any throw melt burning it. So I chopped it. It was a mess chopping it, and I think I tried melting this in some warmers just one day in that week and a half beforehand, and again, I didn't really get a lot from it, so I'll give that another shot, and maybe it'll do a little better next time. This was also from Homeworks, and it's country apple butter. It's caramel apple, sweet vanilla, and toasted nut. Excuse the dirtiness of everything, because when I chopped these, wax just got everywhere. It was such a mess. This one performed even less well than the sugared beignets. I got 0 throw from this one, melting it in my house, and when it finally gotten down like below half is when I decided to just chop it and try melting it. I've melted it once, and again, I'm not getting anything in my warmer, so I'm gonna try melting with maybe like those little metal dishes on top of the hot plate warmers and see if it just needs to be extra hot. I don't know. Maybe it's my house, but I was really hoping for better performance from them. So if anyone has any tips, I'd love to know that, because they have some blends that sound so good, and I just don't want to spend more money buying candles from them if I can't smell any of it when it's burning. Oh, and the other candle, I melted this, I believe, 2 different days in that period of time, and I just love the packaging on this, and just even the lid of that hammered copper. It's not quite halfway down, but this is Leaves, and I know this is really probably a fall scent, but that kind of spiced apple still kind of goes with winter and Christmas to me. And it's crisp red apple, golden nectar, and warm clove spice. And yeah, I really like this one. It's so pretty when it burns with the light coming through. And then the last candle. Oh my goodness, okay. I'll show you all the candle. It's beautiful. Let me zoom out. I feel like I'm zoomed in a little bit too much. Nope. Okay, let me adjust this, because I feel like I'm zoomed out too much. Okay, see if that's better. This is 'Tis the Season. It's Bath & Body Works candle, and the notes are rich red apple, sweet cinnamon, and cedarwood. It's that kind of classic, you know, Michael's craft store apple. And I took it to my dad's because we were going to spend Christmas with him, and I lit it in the kitchen, and it smelled so good. It threw pretty well, and I didn't really think about, when we left, blowing it out a good 30 minutes or an hour before we were leaving and getting in the car. so that the wax could re-solidify. So we waited for like 10 minutes and it sort of had started setting up, and I was like, okay, I had it packaged in a little brown box, and that it was like shipped in because I ordered this one online, and I was like, I'll hold this all the way home and hopefully it'll be okay. And it was not. So you can see what a mess the inside of the candle is. It's all up on the sides. It's all over the lid. It's just a mess on the wicks. Nothing that can't be fixed, but if I ever take a candle somewhere, I'm going to remember to blow it out and let it set for a while before trying to get in the car, because it just went all over the place in the car, even though I was trying to keep it still. But again, I love the packaging on this one, and it's just that kind of classic Christmas apple. Ooh, gotta be careful how I'm stacking these candles over here. Alright, let's dive into what I actually got to melt some of, and the Empties. This was one I was down towards the end of, Sleeping on Clouds from Salt Mountain Melts. It's lavender, boardwalk marshmallow clouds, vanilla orchid, and sugarcane. And I love this lavender. It was poured back in February of 2021. So by the time I started melting it, it was at least 6 months old, and it's always thrown really well. It's lasted a long time, and it's one of my favorite lavenders for a nighttime blend. I put some in, and I still can smell it in the morning, and just nice lavender. It does have like that sweet note, almost kind of like a sugar cube, and then the floral and kind of perfumey sweet notes of the boardwalk marshmallow clouds. But it's very soothing and relaxing, and it's really one of my favorite bedtime blends. So I finished up the last of that, and then I would totally repurchase that. The throw, I feel like, was probably a 9 out of 10. It was really strong for the first probably 6 hours. And then after that, it does fade back a little bit, but it does last. Like I was saying, like I can smell it the next morning, like 10, 12 hours later. So, absolutely would get that one again. Another one that I melted a lot at bedtime, and I had been melting this previously, was the scoop from L3, and it's Escape Room of Peppermint, Whipped Cream, and Sugar Cookie Royale. And oh my goodness, I have loved this one. I am trying to patiently let a loaf cure before diving into this, but this is one of my favorite peppermint bakery scents. It's just a straight up peppermint with that vanilla buttery sugar cookie, and it threw really well. I will say the scoops don't last a really long time for me because I put them in super high heat warmers. And if y'all have tips for making them last longer, let me know, because I'm not sure if they perform better with a cooler temperature warmer. But I've been putting them in my hot plate warmers, and they throw. Okay, I don't know if my camera just shut off. I was just talking about L3 Escape Room, but yeah, I would get more of this. Love this, one of my favorite peppermint bakeries. And yeah, it's just a nice straight up sugar cookie and peppermint. Next is Tiffany's Peppermint Little Bites from Candle from the Keeping Room. I melted one shake of these little ones, and this was sent to me from someone, so I don't know how old these are, but I got a little bit of peppermint and I think cupcakes at Tiffany's, but it didn't throw very well for me, so I think these must be really old. At least based off of the performance of this in particular, I would not repurchase it. but I'm willing to give a newer candle from the keeping room a chance, because I think I really think that one's just super old, so I don't want to judge her wax based off of some wax that I think it's just not going to perform as well as her more recent stuff. Anyways, from Rose Girls, Harvest Bake Sale Noel, and I got this in the Kahuna box. I don't really like this one. I feel like it's kind of a bakery. I think there's maybe some zucchini bread in here, but it's got this kind of a spiced note, and when it's warmed, that's really all I got, just the spicy note. And it was a little bitter, honestly, so it may have just been, you know, the warmer I warmed it in. Maybe I should try it in a different room. Could just be my nose, but I just didn't really care for this one personally. Next was Sugared Spruce from Southbound, and it's cassis, spruce, fir needles, and sweet sugar crystals. And this one is so good. It is a sweet spruce, just like you would expect. I don't really get the cassis, but just that classic spruce note, and like sweetened up a little bit. It was strong. It performed pretty well for me for, I don't know, 8-9 hours, and then I turned the warmer off and I didn't turn this back on, so it might have gone longer than that, but yeah, it did really well in our big open space. I put 1 cube in 2 different warmers, one in the kitchen, one in the dining room, and, or not dining room, in the living space, and yeah, really enjoyed it. My husband likes that one a lot too, and he doesn't normally comment. Another one that my husband liked was this one from Salt Mountain Melts. It's Rocky Mountain Christmas. It's fresh balsam, sugar cookies, and buttercream. And I melted this actually twice. This one is so good. I have recently found that I like balsam and other pine scents. I used to think that I hated them, but this fall they've been really growing on me, especially the last like 2 months, and I'm glad I ordered this. Just giving it a chance, because this was one of my favorites of the week, and I feel like the sugar cookie note is kind of a light note. I definitely get more buttercream in the balsam when it's melting, at least just to my nose, but it performed really well. It lasted a long time, and the throw, I feel like the throw was a good, solid 8 or 9 out of 10, so I could smell it all through the house, had no issues, and I would definitely repurchase this one again. Next was the beginning of the week and a half. I melted some of this Southbound from fall in its fall festival of spiced apple, crushed cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, and a hint of gingerbread. This one is one of my favorites from them, and it's just very similar, honestly, to Leaves. That kind of appley spice note. Probably a little bit more of a fall one than Christmas, but I still really liked it. It performs incredibly well. It lasts all day for me, and I have no issues smelling it all through the house. So I don't know when this was poured. I think it's at least a year old, but yeah, it threw incredibly well. And by all day, like, that went for a good like 15-16 hours for me. It may have even gone longer if I'd left it in the warmer. I just didn't. And this was part of a chopped up candle, the Bath Body Works crushed candy cane. It performed okay for me, but I think burning a candle would probably be better. This one just came and it was broken wick, so I chopped it. Again, it was a mess, you can see on the back, but I used a little bit of it for mint one night. And this is from L3, and it's pretzel, mac apple, fresh baked bread, and this one, This is good. You do get that fresh baked bread and the pretzel, so if you're not a fan of that kind of yeasty bread note, you might not like this one. But I definitely get that salty and the kind of the yeastiness, and then that fresh mac apple, and everything just, you can smell everything when it's warmed. This lasted for a really long time for me. Normally I don't, unless I know something is going to perform really well for a second day, I normally just automatically change things out. But I feel like this could have gone longer. I left it in for 10-12 hours, and I could smell it consistently whenever I'd walk into the area of the house it was. And yeah, I really liked this one. I would totally get this one again. And throw, I feel like that was again another solid 8 or 9. I don't know that you could smell this outside the house walking by, but especially the first probably 5 hours, it was very strong. This I melted one night from Teddy Bees. It's Lavender Snow, and it's winter type silver birch, lavender milk, and vanilla cream. I picked this up from the pre-order this fall. This is really unusual. I'm still kind of exploring all the woodsy notes, and mixed with the lavender and the vanilla, the birch almost feels like mint. It doesn't smell like mint, but it has kind of that cooling sensation in the fragrance to me. And also like this light spiciness. And I know there's not really any spicy in here, but the birch just kind of, to my nose, feels like that. It was really nice at night. I definitely want to melt this again and see how long it actually lasts, because I fell asleep and then just kind of didn't track it. But I could smell it, while I was going to sleep, and it was a nice wintry, like, nighttime blend. Another nighttime blend, I've melted almost all of this bag the last month, was from Rose Girls. It's creme de menthe, cotton candy frosting, and royal sugar cookie. I'm honestly a little disappointed by this one because it doesn't last for very long. I've done it a lot at night, but I've also melted this during the day trying to see, and after about 4 hours, I don't really smell very much, which is unusual for a mint blend. And this mint is really soft. It kind of reads more like a buttermint to me instead of like peppermint. And creme de menthe I always think of as like really strong peppermint smell, but this one definitely isn't. When it's warming, it does smell good. It just doesn't last very long, and I kind of want a little bit more of the mint note to it. So I don't know if I would get this one again. I'm gonna let it, I got it in October, so it had a good 2 months at least to cure, but I'm gonna let it sit and maybe try melting it again in another month or two and see if maybe these last 2 cubes perform better. But yeah, if any of you have melted this, let me know down below what your experience was. It may just be my nose picking up on things differently. Oh, this was one of my favorites this week from Teddy Bees, Over the Hill and Through the Woods, and it's Christmas trees and cream blended with warm apple cider. And Christmas trees and cream is one of her house blends of the Christmas tree, vanilla buttercream, and I think vanilla sugared waffle cone. And this, I have this tiny few little chunks left, and that's all I have. I loved this one. I melted this multiple days. It lasted really well for me. Pretty good strong throw, and lasted all day. I really regret not picking up more. I didn't think, based off of the description, that it would be such a big hit for me, but melted, and I will say on cold, this was not super impressive to me, but once it melted, everything just comes together so cohesively. And that warm apple cider, it's not really so much like an apple note, but just this kind of little bit of Christmassy spice, but not heavy spice. I'm doing this fragrance such an injustice because I feel like I can't describe it well enough, but this was beautiful. I would absolutely get more of it. And yeah, if y'all had this, let me know what you think, because really, really pretty. Pretty. It was yummy, pretty, amazing. I don't know. I enjoyed it. From L3, this is Sweet Potato Spice, one of the Trig Tarts. I melted this one day. This is something that kind of surprised me. I melted this previously in the fall, but yeah, it reminds me quite a bit of a sweet potato pie, and I really enjoyed it. Just kind of that different kind of spice than a pumpkin spice. And it, honestly, I feel like there's a little bit of citrus note to it. But has anyone else melted this one? This is very broken. It came like this, but not from the vendor. This is Sassy Girl Aroma. It's Welcome Home type. Cinnamon notes mingled with plum and apple accords. Really enjoyed this one. Have melted it quite a bit since Thanksgiving, and let me see if I can get it. So yeah, I've got quite a lot more left, and we've melted it probably 4 or 5 times, so it's been good. It's definitely that kind of red hot or cinnamon bark, sorry, not cinnamon bark. It's definitely the red hot cinnamon. With just the fruity notes of the apple and the plum. I wouldn't necessarily be able to say I tell there's plum in here, but there is kind of a deeper fruity note that goes with the apple and the cinnamon. It's kind of a straightforward scent, but I enjoyed it. My husband enjoyed this. And yeah, I would probably get that one again, but I think I have enough for next year of that one anyways. Another one from Sassy Girl Aroma was Apple Wreath type, and this is green apple, red hot cinnamon, crushed clove, crisp pine needles, and warm cedar wood. We only have this left. We've melted this a lot, kind of starting around Thanksgiving, so you can see this has been a favorite. Of the two, I think we prefer this one, maybe just a little bit. It's a little more of a complex scent, and the pine note is kind of nice. It brings this kind of green, kind of fresh, like outdoorsy scent to the fruity cinnamon. Yeah, I would get this one again. I might finish melting it over the winter, or I might save it for next Christmas. I haven't quite decided. I melted this one day in the bathroom, Candied Apple from Missouri River Soap. It's juicy apples, sweet plums, muddled strawberries, and citrus zest. It's kind of similar to winter Candied Apple, but I feel like it's got a little bit of a deeper, like, sweet note. I don't know. I really, really liked this one a lot. It performs incredibly well for me in the bathroom. This went for at least 2.5 days, pretty strong. By then it was starting to teeter off a little bit, and I don't leave the warmers on at night, so that's what, maybe 14 hours out of the day, with it being off for 8 to 10 hours. But yeah, it performs really well. I've melted many clamshells of this before, and it's one of my favorites from her. It's just a good sweet apple, no spice, and there is just that little bit of orange and berry mixed in with it that's really good. Oh, I did finish this candle early on in the week and a half. It's sweet kettle corn from Bath and Body Works, and the scent notes are freshly popped kettle corn, creamy caramel, and sprinkled with sugar and sea salt. Oh my goodness, y'all. This, it's a mess because I tried to scoop out the bottom because it didn't burn all the way down, and then I just made a mess on the sides trying to get it out, so it actually burned much cleaner than this. There was a little bit of smoking that started about halfway down, but I think that was my fault for not trimming the wicks and letting it burn a little bit too long one time. But I love this one. I picked up a lot more because of enjoying this one so much. And on cold, the buttery note and like that sweet kind of caramel note don't really come out on cold, but once it's warmed, oh my goodness, it's just like movie butter popcorn with this light mapley brown sugar salted caramel just drizzled on the top, and it's not too overwhelmingly sweet. And then that just kind of nuttiness of the popcorn. It's really good. This was one of my favorite candles this fall, and I had finally finished this. I melted this one day, Hungry Ghost. It's pumpkin pecan waffles, sugar cookie, and toasted marshmallows from Salt Mountain Melts. And wow, this smells so good. On cold, it smells really just kind of like pumpkin pecan waffles, and honestly kind of just basic. But when it's warmed, it threw so well. Very strong, just a small amount of wax. It went a good probably 12 hours, and I could smell it all the way through the house. And we don't have like a huge place. It's 1,000 square feet, but we have really tall ceilings, and this was melting in the bedroom, and I could smell it all the way in the kitchen on the opposite side of the house. When it's warmed, just there's more depth to it than just a plain pumpkin pecan waffles, and you do get that sugar cookie note and then that kind of caramelized note of the toasted marshmallow, but I didn't pick up on that when it was on cold. This is fantastic. I'm so glad I actually have some more of it, because I loved this, and I would definitely say if you haven't melted it, but you have it and you're not super excited about it, just give it a shot melting it, because it really transformed once it was warmed for me. I did melt a little bit of this pumpkin pecan waffles. I added it to this other blend from L3 of sugar cookie royale, pumpkin pecan waffles, and espresso. I felt like it was super heavy on the espresso, which is a little bit too bitter for me, and so I wound up adding a section of this trig tart from L3 of pumpkin pecan waffles to just kind of a little bit more of that. I'm not sure that I love the espresso from L3. To me, it's super bitter, and a lot of times when it's been in blends, it just dominates everything else to where it's hard to smell the rest of the blend. So I don't know if I would pick that particular blend up again, but I would like to try some pumpkin pecan waffle from them with some of the different coffee oils that they have. Also from L3, Boozy Grandma, this is sugar cookie, buttered rum, and espresso. This one, espresso, actually didn't overpower too much. You did get it, but I feel like the buttered rum and the sugar cookie were the notes in this that I picked up on the most when it was warmed. This one is really yummy. If you like that kind of buttered rum, it just, it was a really good blend. And like I was saying, the coffee note is not overwhelming in this, so I'm glad I got this one. I do think this one didn't last a long time. It performed okay. The throw was maybe a 6 or 7. I could smell it, but it wasn't like traveling all through the house outside of the room it was in. And it didn't last a super long time. Now I know this hasn't had a ton of cure time, so maybe more cure time would make it last longer, but it after about 4 or 5 hours, the scent had really started fading. But I did enjoy it. I have a little bit of sinus stuff going on, so I melted Wet Bandits, it's mentholatum and sinus relief from Vintage Chic Scents. This was poured in October, and it just needed more cure time. I just didn't get hardly any throw at all from this, so I'm gonna wait and let that continue curing for a while before melting that again. This was Peppermint Meringue from Kendall from the keeping room. Just a sweet peppermint. Again, I didn't really get any throw from it, so I think it's just old and I need to give her wax that's newer a shot. This was actually not from this week, that's from something else. I somehow got that mixed in here. This is from Teddy Bees, and it's I Smell Fall, Cider Lane, Pecan Waffles, and Marshmallow Fireside. That pecan waffles is the pumpkin pecan waffles, and the Cider Lane is the caramel apple version, not the spiced apple version. And honestly, before this, I thought that I did not like Marshmallow Fireside, but it's kind of nice in the background with this. A sweet, very light smokiness. I mainly get the Cider Lane and the pecan waffles, and this has been one of my favorites. The last, since like right before Thanksgiving is when I first melted some of the souffle I got. I have craved this many days. I've had a hard time not melting it and running through the amount that I have, but I love this one. It just really feels like a perfect fall scent, and that caramel apple and then the toasted pecans and the maple buttery waffle note with that kind of light smoky perfumey Marshmallow Fireside in the background. Oh, it's just wonderful, and it performs really well. I would say it lasts a good 10 hours for me, and I can smell it all through the house. So I melted some of this the week before Christmas and just enjoyed it so much. This is from Salt Mountain Melt, sweet and salty. It's soft pretzel, sugar cookies, sweet buttery dough, and vanilla frosted cake. I don't know if this one needs a little bit more cure time or not. It was poured in November, so it was about, a little over a month and a half. You definitely get that kind of sweet vanilla dough smell. I didn't really get the cake note. And I don't really feel like I got the sugar cookie specifically. I haven't quite decided if I like this one, honestly. The throw wasn't great. And it maybe is just because it's kind of a vanilla sort of bakery scent. maybe it just doesn't throw as well in my house, or maybe it just needs more cure time. But it didn't last for very long. It kind of piddled out at that like 4 or 5 hour mark, and even before then I was really struggling to smell it in my house. And at moments it would smell kind of like a sweet kind of bakery vanilla, and then at other times it smelled like Play-Doh. So I don't know. I'm gonna give this a nice period of time and retry it and see if the extra cure time kind of helped with it, because I did not really enjoy this one that much. But it's just my nose, maybe. Another one we really enjoyed, as you can see we melted 2 whole chunks, was Teddy B's Simply Christmas, and it's Christmas furs and candy canes. It's maybe a little bit of a basic scent, but it's just so well done. That Christmas tree with just a little bit of the peppermint was perfect leading up to Christmas, and we really enjoyed this, both my husband and I. It felt like Christmas even though we were having really warm weather. I think it hit like 80 degrees or something for Christmas Day here, and it was nice having this that week beforehand, because at least in our house, no matter how warm it was outside, it kind of still felt like Christmas, especially melting all these other ones too. So I would get that one again. It threw pretty well. And yeah, I wish that I actually had more of that one. Another was Hufflepuff, and this is Fresh Baked Cookies, Sweet Cinnamon, Sugar, and Pumpkin Pasties from L3. I love this one. It smells like a cinnamon sugar, like snickerdoodle cookie. As you can see, I only have a little bit left. It's one of my favorites from L3. And I have to say it's probably one of my favorite bakery scents this fall. That cinnamon sugar note is not the red hot cinnamon or cinnamon bark. It is that like bakery cinnamon sugar, and it throws really well. Lasts pretty well for me too. I'd say it lasts probably at least a solid 8-9 hours before it starts fading, and a good probably 8 on the throw out of 10. I just love this one. I need to get another loaf, because I would melt this even when it's not fall and winter, because I love this one so much. Next is Santa's Sleigh Ride, and this is brandied pear, cranberry, and pomegranate from L3. It was 2 bunts. I melted this one day. I really like it. I don't know that I get the pomegranate or a brandy note. I mainly get pear and cranberry, but they are really nice. It is kind of a non-spiced Christmas winter fruit scent, and it was kind of nice to have something that didn't have like a cinnamon or spice note. The pear kind of brightens it, and then the cranberry has like that tartness that pairs pretty well with the sweetness of the pear. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one a lot. I would get that again. I melted this a couple times at night. It's from Southbound. It's snow cream, peppermint, sugared marshmallows, vanilla bean Noel, and cotton candy frosting. Sorry, that was one of our cats. It's a nice sweet peppermint. Performed pretty well. I wouldn't say it's like something unusual, but I just liked it. It was kind of a sweet candy peppermint, but not just candy cane. It definitely had more of like a vanilla and creamy candy note to it. So I would get this one again. It performed well at night. Next is Strawberry Pine from Southbound. It's fresh picked strawberries and fresh pine. And I picked this one up just on a whim. I was like, this is not going to be good. And I loved this. The juicy kind of candy strawberry note with the pine is so unusual, but my nose just can't get enough of it. So I've melted this several times. It threw pretty well. I'd say probably 7 or 8. I did get it recently though, so it could benefit from some more cure time. But yeah, I really liked this one a lot. Next, from Southbound, Gingerbread Cream Puffs. I melted this, I think, once or twice. And it's a good gingerbread scent. You definitely get that spice note of the sweetened gingerbread, but then it's rounded out with the butter pastry dough, the creamy vanilla custard, sweet cream, confectioner's sugar, and a hint of spice. And the gingerbread is not too overwhelming. It's not like a bitter gingerbread note. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of cute shapes in here too. But it was a nice kind of wintry Christmas bakery. Also from Southbound is Elf Treats. This was candy canes, candy corn, and syrup with effervescent spicy soda pop bubbles. This one is so unusual. It's kind of got a sweet, spicy note to it. Kind of like ginger ale in that kind of a spicy scent. And then there is like a little bit of a mapley syrup and mint. I don't think I've smelled anything like this, and I melted it once. I still haven't decided if I like it or not. It's very unusual. I don't dislike it, but I don't know on the scale of like enjoying it periodically or falling in love with it that I am yet. Then I melted this once. This was also from Southbound, Pumpkin Cookies and Milk. It's fresh from the oven pumpkin spice cookies with warm sweetened milk. And yeah, it's just a classic pumpkin spice with a cookie note. It was nice. Not anything that blew me away necessarily. It was just kind of a classic pumpkin cookie scent. But I did enjoy it. I think I would probably enjoy it more earlier on in the fall, because I've just kind of gotten burnt out on a lot of pumpkin spice scents. So I probably would have enjoyed that more in September. And so I'll probably hold on to it till then. And then the last of the wax is Salt Mountain Melts. Milk and cookies for Santa and its eggnog, Mrs. Claus's cookies, and sugar cookies. This was a souffle. Still, when I got this and unpacked it, I smelled this and I thought, this is absolutely awful. And I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna give my loaf and the souffle, sell it, give it to someone, because I cannot see melting this. And I let it sit there for, a month or 5-6 weeks. I don't know. It was poured October 19th. So it sat for almost 2 months, I guess, from the pour date. I didn't have it the whole 2 months though. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna cut a slice off and melt it before I decide whether to get rid of my loaf. And in the time period between having originally smelled it and then it changed. Maybe it was my nose, but honestly I feel like it had enough cure time to finally meld everything, and the kind of weird artificial note that was just so unpleasant when I originally had smelled it is not there anymore. And it smells so good. I have enjoyed melting this a lot during the week before Christmas, and I probably will keep my loaf because I've enjoyed this so much. It's been a good kind of creamy eggnog, but I definitely get the nutmeg note to it. And there's a little bit of a booziness, but it's not overwhelmingly boozy. And then I get the sugar cookie note, and it's really sweet and creamy and just it performed well, it lasted well for me, and I was just so surprised. I thought this was one I was gonna hate, that I wouldn't want to melt at all. So yeah, it was a lesson to remind me that, like, don't judge something necessarily right when I get it out of the box, but be patient, really let it cure and give it a chance before deciding if I dislike something, because I would have probably gotten rid of this and now I'm like, oh, I really like this one a lot. And I believe the last is, we went through a soap from Missouri River Soaps. This was Golden Oats. The notes were oats, amber, and powdered scent. Oh my goodness, this one is great. It's like oatmeal milk and honey, but so much deeper and richer. So we finished this up in the shower. Anyways, that's all I got through the week before Christmas. I have more melting baskets coming up. Thanks for watching, and yeah, definitely comment down below if y'all melted any of these, or have, like, what your favorite scents were that you melted at Christmas. I'd love to hear if you've had different experiences as well, or any tips on getting better throw, or mixing different scents together. So yeah, let me know down below, and again, thanks for watching. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.